Start off a press conference today. I want to announce that we have made a final decision. I've made a final decision, and Demetrius Houston will no longer be with us for the remainder of this year, and is going to look to transfer and follow other opportunities.
Any updates on Eric coming back to practice?
Yeah, Eric has been out in practice the last 3 practices for an hour each day, and has done a really good job for a guy who hasn't practiced in 3 months. Great feel for the game, but he still has a lot of strength yet to gain in that leg, and discussing it with our trainer and with the team doctors. So he's still got quite a ways to go to be back to 100% where we can throw him into a game. You know, in our practice, he looks really good when we're doing half-court stuff. As soon as we start going up and down, his lack of conditioning shows up pretty quickly. And then what we don't want is to have him out there, push him too far, and then have him somehow re-injure it by trying to push him too soon, too quickly.
Any talks with Elijah about going back and forth, or just sticking with bowl practice, or how is that scheduled?
No, he'll be with the bowl practice, once they start getting ready for that, which is, I think the game's the 30th, if I'm not mistaken, and so he'll be getting prepared to be.
But he won't travel this weekend with you guys.
Yeah, I think he will travel this week. Mm-hmm.
And then once the 30th kind of ends, is he then, the plan is to rejoin the team?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, immediately.
What have you seen from him just in the early kind of practices that you have?
You know, he has a good skill level for a guy who hasn't played basketball in quite a while. He has a good feel for the game. He obviously is not in basketball conditions. So that's something that we're trying to remedy and get him up to speed. But he really helps us because he gives us another quality, player out there that can make our practices more competitive and make them better. And he's just got a lot to learn. You know, we've been trying to teach him some of the sets and some of the different things that we're doing in man offense. This week it's been a zone week because our next opponent, UMKC, is basically all zone.
What do you think's been the biggest difference for Travis Daniels this year?
I think that we're playing the 4 spot, number 1, exclusively. And now he's having to play a little bit of 3 in practice just because with Eric and Eli coming, who are both basically 4 men, for us to have a competitive practice and take advantage of having all, the best athletes out there, he's going to have to play some minutes for us as a 3 in practice. But he's been playing at the 4, and I think he's playing, doing a really good job. I mean, I think he is second on the team in offensive boards at 20. He's doing a really good job shooting the 3 ball when he's open, and we'd like to see him get more opportunities because of that high percentage. And he's really working hard defensively, which is key for us.
Is it good for you guys to have, what's it been, 10, 11 days off of game action just to be on the court to practice and that sort of thing, and not have a game to worry about?
Yeah, you know what? It's been good, but it's also been a big part of it just them focusing on their studies. And I could tell our last practice was not a great practice because guys are, mentally whipped from doing papers and studying and getting ready for finals, and it's a difficult time. I know that a few of you can remember those days, but I'm reminded every year in coaching at this time, it's no fun. I mean, they're working hard, they're up late, they're getting up early. I mean, there's a lot of stress and pressure on them to get done what they need to get done. We have, today, give you an example, we have a bunch of our players this morning have an 8 a.m. final. We're going to practice at noon, go noon to 2, and then they have 3 o'clock finals. So, we're throwing a practice in between 2 finals. Hopefully the exercise will help them do well on their 3 o'clock final. Because we have to keep it really, our practice today will actually be after stretching an hour and 50 minutes. And I've got to keep the, really adherence to that to make sure that they're on time and, don't want them being late for anything.
How have the practices gone with the defense? You wanted to work a lot on the defense. How is that going?
No, it's been good, and you know, we're also spending more time on trying to attack a zone offensively, which is something we've done very little of. I mean, when we think about our first 7 games, we've seen little if no zone for the most part, and so we spent a lot of time, because the team that we're playing, coming out of finals, a road game, which again I shake my head at. Look up how many Power 5 conference teams are going on the road coming out of finals to play a game. We've got to be one of the very few, because it's more difficult, and so we're making it a more difficult situation, because they're a team to contend with. They're a good team. They're well coached, and they have a difficult style to play against. But we're doing a lot of work against zone and trying to get ready to attack a zone for what we expect to be 40 minutes a zone.
What are some of the things that you're trying to show the guys to work against the zone? What do you hope will happen heading into the road game?
Well, just, you know, it's a different, when kids play in the summertime, no one's playing zone. They're like, hey guys, let's play some zone today. Get together here. And it'll help us for regular season when we start playing. No, it never happens. So it's really a thing that, you know, you've got to, first of all, try to be patient with it. You got to get the ball moving side to side. You have to get the ball into the interior of the zone, either with passes or with penetrating drives. You've got to make the extra pass. You've got to try to hurt a team on the offensive glass that zones you, because one of the weaknesses of the zone is blockouts. And they also press, so they're pressing back to the zone. So, you know, one thing that we were unfortunately not able to do these last 2 practices was on Monday and Tuesday. We took yesterday off. IJ did not practice. IJ's got it's had real issues with patellar tendonitis in his knee. He's had a MRI on it, which indicates there's nothing serious to it, but there's still tendonitis there. So he did miss both of our practices on Monday and Tuesday, which changes our whole look not even having him out there. But hopefully he'll be ready to go. It sounds like it's improved quite a bit from then. And so basically we didn't practice Sunday. He got out there a little bit on Monday, and then we pulled him out. So he's had like 4 days off in a row essentially. So him getting back to form here after 4 days off is a real important thing for us now too.
Has Malik kind of taken over that role as the one without
Malik.
IJ? Yeah, Malik. Okay.
But I do play Q there some,
Right.
and Malik the 2, just because when IJ's back, one of the things we never really got to do a lot of in practice, which is what I was really counting on, was to have IJ and Malik in there together, where Malik is getting out and sprinting the floor and advancing the ball to him, which is not a habit yet because he hasn't done it enough in practice.
Right.
You create habits through what you do every day in practice. So hopefully we'll get to more of that even today and tomorrow before we leave.
You kind of talked about going on the road and how difficult that is after finals, but what kind of test is it just for the guys, their first true road games coming up, especially from Malik and Q?
Yeah, no, it's a big test because it's their first true road game on someone else's home floor, and then coming out of finals makes it more difficult because you've got all the stress that's been on making sure you're taking care of business with your academic stuff. And like I said, those kids have 2 finals today, both Q and Malik do. So basically they'll be relieved by the end of this day, hopefully, and then they have tomorrow's practice, and then we're out of here.
You mentioned UMKC's defense. What have you seen from them offensively?
They have a good pair of guards. I mean, as good a pair of guards as we've seen. I mean, really good. The player of the year in their conference, Harrison's just a sophomore, or junior, excuse me. He was player of the year as a sophomore. He was all freshman as his first year in the conference. Really good player. Has played very well against, for example, Iowa and Minnesota. And then the kid Boyd, really good shooter. He's as good as shooter. He's shooting 52% from 3. They shoot just under 40% from 3 as a team. They're athletic, they're big, they have a lot of guys up front that they play. But those two guards in the backcourt are really a huge key for them. And I guess Marquez, Harrison, and Lavelle Boyd, good players.
So you think this will be a good defensive test for both?
Big time, yeah. It's going to be very difficult for us. And I'm watching Boyd on film, and man, can he shoot. And then it's good. Harrison is so tough, and he loves to split ball screens. Like, we're really to be tested in our ball screen defense when we're plugging the screen to keep the man in front of you, because he loves to come off the screen and then cross you over and go back against the grain. And he plays really low with the ball. And he's 5'10", 200 pounds. He's a little tank. He's good.
How do you keep the momentum going through the last game into this game with a 10-day layoff? And as you said, not everyone's practicing, and then finals. How do, as a coach, do you try to continue that long layoff?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
How do you continue that momentum? Obviously, you guys are playing well coming off the final game, but there's a 10-day layoff in between there. There's finals. There's guys injured. How do you keep that momentum going during the long layoff?
Well, it's always tough coming out of finals. That's why typically you don't want to, you want to have your easiest game of the year coming out of finals. Guys are stressed mentally. They've just been through a lot. It's hard to get into a rhythm practice-wise because of finals. But it is what it is. We deal with what we have to do. And so we had two very good practices, I thought, after our last game against Texas Southern. We took that Thursday off, and we had really good practices on Friday and Saturday, especially that Saturday. I was really excited. We were able to break down our defense and do a lot of things. We had Sunday off, and then Monday and Tuesday, you're right in the middle of finals. And I'm trying to keep our practices shorter during this finals period in deference to our players and their importance for studies. But it's been pretty good.